life force. So prana is a Sanskrit word for life force. Okay, so we start to see a change here in that this layer, the prana layer, is universal. It's not personal. You see, the other layers were personal, experienced even as personal. Remember? My thoughts, my emotions, my body, that kind of stuff. But prana, now we start to enter universal experience. The same life force that is in me is the same one, exactly the same one that is in you and that is in all things. It is universal. It is shared by all. It transcends individuality. Okay? However, it still has the properties of duality, of form, formless. Okay? And for example, we can see that expressed in our breath. We breathe in. We breathe out. Okay? The very in breath and then the out breath is an expression of form and formless, of duality. Is it not? Or, for example, look at our cycle of life. One day we don't exist on the planet, then we are born, we incarnate, and then one day we leave the planet, or in other words, in quotes, die. We don't actually die, we transition, but you get the point, right? Prana itself, the life force, expresses, has duality. It is experienced. It has an experience of impermanence. Okay? The life force has always been on this planet, right? For what, billions of years now or whatever. So, but then personally, we individually, although this is a universal life force, individually we experience it with levels of impermanence. Okay? So, for example, even during the day, sometimes we have a lot of energy, a lot of life force, and we feel invigorated and vital and energized, charged. And other times of the day we feel, tired, flat, So we can actually feel the duality of prana. Okay? Does that make sense? And we can also make a mistake of identifying with this prana. So for example, if we, let's say, identify with our energy level, our mood. So for example, if we're very invigorated and then all of a sudden we're flat and tired, and then we identify too much with that, and then we, become snappy at people. We could do something to somebody when we're tired, snap at them and say something we didn't actually mean to say, and that could cause that person to punch us or to hate us, or we could break our relationship because we acted out of identification with prana. And there are many other ways we can identify with prana, okay? That is not healthy for us, okay? Even with this level, identification creates suffering, right? Do you see what I mean? Now, how do we practice disidentification at this level of prana? Well, without getting into the technique of it, all I want to do is just point out an example, okay, of people who have really decided to not identify too much with this level. Take, for example, very advanced martial artists, let's say samurai soldiers, for example, okay? And other people in various mystical traditions that practice facing death while they're alive. They face death, they accept death while they're alive, and that way they let go of this need to be to not die. And because they have let go of that attachment of staying alive, they actually live more. They are able to do amazing things. We say, oh my God, he's so brave. It's because he's no longer attached to his prana, so he's not afraid of death. So fear is no longer controlling her. Okay, they just let it be. Whatever will be, will be. I mean, they practice, they take precaution, but they are not held back by the fear of losing their prana. Okay, and this enables their power to actually increase. I'll give you another better example. Do you know people who've gone through near-death experiences, or have you heard of people who've gone near-death experiences? You know, people who maybe they had a terminal disease and they're supposed to die and they actually died, and you know they were medically dead for maybe a few hours or maybe a day or whatever. I don't know. And they come back. You know, do you know what happens to those people? They live fully because they've already embraced death. All of a sudden, they don't sweat the small stuff. They live fully, you know. That is why people who've gone through a near-death experience tend to live much more fully after the near-death experience, because they have faced death, they have embraced it, they have accepted it, and that frees them, that awakens them. Compare that to someone who has a morbid fear of death, you know, that they're even afraid of leaving their house. They think they're protecting their prana, but they're actually living half-assed, you know. Because they're living. do you see what I'm saying? Even this level, attachment to it can create problems. Now, I just want to quickly mention one thing that I don't know whether this is appropriate now, but anyways, yeah, let me just mention it. Prana is the interface between the body and the mind. It's one of the ways the body and the mind connect, but I just want to mention that. I don't want to get into that. In fact, you can actually forget I mentioned it. I don't know why I mentioned it, because it doesn't have much relevance to the map at this stage. So. But I just wanted to let you know that there is an interface. There is something that connects the heart, mind, the body, and you know, even beyond things like hormones and you know the biological connections that are there. Prana is a key connector of a lot of our systems. Breath, life force, breath, whatever connects us to so many things. That's why a lot of things are solved through breath.